Welcome to Keeping It Real with Jen Godfrey. Hi, I have Zach Dushey. We are keeping it real with Jen Godfrey today. We are going to talk about Zach's journey and where you're from, what you do, and the amazing, incredible things that you are doing right now and what an impact you are making in your community. So, Zach, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you as well. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Well, and so Zach, just to kind of you and I have been introduced, and I do love social media for the fact
Yes.
that we have been introduced through BioProTech. Thank you. It's a
Yes.
really good product, I have to
Yes,
say,
it is.
but
I agree.
I was really humbled when I had so many people willing and wanting to be on, and I love your story. I just thought it was really amazing what you're doing, and I also want to say thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You are
Appreciate that.
a vet of the US Navy, and so I really appreciate that. And Zach, can you just tell me, like, where did you grow up? Let's start from the beginning. So where did you
All
grow
right.
up?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I was born in Auburn, California. I grew up in a little town called Alta, California. It was a town tucked away in the mountains. So I had a lot of time on dirt bikes. I used to skateboard, snowboard quite a bit. Lived a pretty wild life when I was younger. I had my older brother and my younger sister and my two parents. I think overall, being raised in the mountains really set the character of who I am as an individual. I love to hunt. I love to get outdoors. I love to be outdoors. Yeah. So that's just the gist of it right there.
Okay. Well, I love that. And I'm from Washington, so I can totally relate. I love the mountains. I
Yeah.
have to say, I love the ocean too. So I was in San Diego for like 13 years. So do
Okay.
have a major respect for the ocean. But
Yep.
yeah, that's amazing. So Alta, is that by Shasta? Like where in California is that?
So I'd say if you were to drive towards Lake Tahoe from Sacramento, it's about an hour away from
Okay.
Sacramento.
Okay, so that's like the good. Okay, yeah. So you have the good skiing and stuff there for sure.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
I know, I love Tahoe. Who doesn't? And Zach, when did you leave California?
So I left California around the age of 12. So if it was to kind of think about it, it was
Okay.
right before high school years, 2000, 2004, 2005, I believe. My parents just decided that there were
Okay.
better opportunities out there for us as we were growing up. So we packed up and we drove across the I'll say the U.S., but we just drove, got to our location, and then we just started just living life.
Yeah, well, I love that. And so you moved and then you moved to Washington, right?
That is correct. Washington State.
Yeah. Okay. Washington State. That's where I'm from. Meant to be. So, and then Zach, you went to you said you did your high school years in Washington, and then when did you join the Navy? What kind of prompted you to want to go into the Navy? Did you always know
Uh,
you wanted to go into the military?
so I've always had a heart to serve, and I love my country, right? So there's always something that was in me that wanted to do more, wanted to give more. So that was definitely something that led me to join the Navy. A little backtrack on that too. As far as my wife and I, we've been together since sophomore year in high school, and then basically after we graduated, we were bound to become young parents. So I would say 3 days prior to me going to boot camp, we find out that my wife is pregnant. And they were like, okay, we're doing this. It's game on. So that was a huge driving factor as well to do the best that I can anywhere. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Well, that's amazing though. I mean, high school sweethearts and you're still together, so that's great. Congratulations. Like I
Thank
have to
you.
say marriage is tough, and then I would assume that the military, I mean, it's got to be a little bit more challenging, right? Because, you said she was pregnant and you went to boot camp. So, I
Yep,
mean, that just makes the heart fonder, I would think, right? The fact that you
absolutely.
stayed together and yeah, I mean, that's amazing. So I love that. And when you were in the Navy,
Yes.
where were you stationed?
So I was stationed in Oak Harbor, Washington.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yep.
Love Oak
Mhm.
Harbor. Okay.
Yep.
And then you served, or you said, how long did you serve for?
I served a little over 4 years prior to being discharged.
Okay. Well, that's
Yep.
great. And once again, thank you for your service. I love that. My grandfather was a colonel for World War II and the Korean War, I believe. And he also was a VMI brother rat too. So I have a lot of respect for the military. And I think it's amazing. And I think that we should all respect that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's especially, I mean, he's an absolute warrior, which is, it's awesome. Like an absolute badass as far as men in that time fighting those wars, then coming home and still living a life. Those guys need to be honored every single day.
Well, I agree, and I will say to that time, and I think it's, like, true to every time, right? So back then, we just didn't ha they didn't have, phones, technology, the stuff that we do today, right? So, and they also didn't have the awareness back then. So I do remember I'm just kinda going off topic here, but this is just something that kinda came to my memory here, my grandfather, I took care of him the last 5 years of his life, and I lived with him. He was really stubborn. He passed right before his 96th birthday. He wouldn't go into a home. He was just super independent. When he lost his driver's license, I would park my car in the driveway so he wouldn't drive, and he used to back out and hit my car, and tell me to get my car off his driveway because it was his damn driveway and his damn car, and he had this Buick, and I mean, he would just drive like a bat out of hell. He was, like, 94 years old, and, like, he just
Let's go.
yeah, I mean,
Yep.
the resilience back then, like, he just didn't care?
Yep.
It's just like, "Oh gosh, grandpa." But, yeah, I think that, yeah, there's definitely something special about that time and that era, but I
Yes.
definitely think we need to bring it back, for sure. I think that
Yep.
we're getting there, and, I don't wanna minimize anybody that served any part of our military and any sort of our public, whether it's police, fire department, any tourist, so,
Yes.
it's a tough job, right? And the scrutiny
Yep.
that I'm sure that everybody gets, especially these days, is even more tough. So you said that you served for a little over 4 years. What was the reason that you stopped? Why did you stop serving?
So my story is a little different. So I actually got discharged from the military due to mental illness that developed within that fourth year. It's something that kind of like really hurt for a long time until I realized that like that was not the path that I was supposed to be on because God, you know, God's sovereign over all things. So it's just one of those things where I accepted and just kept on moving forward.
Okay, well, that's good. And if you don't mind telling me what was the illness? You said you had a mental illness.
Yeah, so
What
I've
was
been
it?
diagnosed with OCD, bipolar, and PTSD. So it's it's a lot of things that are stacked on top of each other. So obviously, with OCD,
Mhm.
obsessive compulsive disorder, people think it's checking this or having stuff really clean or just having things in a certain way, a certain manner. That's not entirely it at all. For me and the OCD that I manage and deal with, there are just obsessive thoughts that continue on replay nonstop. It could be statements, it could be like visuals that I'm seeing in my mind that are very, very distracting, which creates a lot of anxiety, depersonalization, depression. It's very, very challenging to navigate just as a person. And then you throw on top of that bipolar disorder, which in my case, I'm more of I don't get like super hypomanic, nothing like that. It's more so I get just randomly depressed. I can be fantastic the day before, next day I wake up and I am in it. I'm fighting hard. And especially in regards to the PTSD. And something I want to say about the PTSD, people will say that, you didn't go to war, you didn't fight, there's no reason for you to have PTSD developed. I definitely say otherwise as a mental health advocate. I clearly have some of it. And there's something for a long time that I was just eating me up because I would always tell myself, man, you aren't some Billy badass that went to war, came back, and you did your job well. You were stationed in Oak Harbor, Washington for about 4 years. You went out on some detachments. You supported the military. You did the best you could, but you never actually saw combat, and that was something that just would wreck me constantly. So just for the record, if you have PTSD and it's not from anything in regards to, combat related scenarios, there's no reason to feel guilty or feel bad about yourself. That's out the window. And another part too is that I just want to let you know that you are abundantly loved, and especially loved by Jesus Christ. So just sticking that out there, just keep moving forward and then moving on.
Well, I love that you said that, PTSD, I think that that can mean a lot of different things. And I think a lot of people that hear the word PTSD, they, like you said, they think of like, Forrest Gump, like going
Yes.
and fighting that, Vietnam War and like, or Iraq or, and
Yes.
I also think that that's a different kind of PTSD from what I've been told and what I've seen, and I have spent time at the VAs, and I have a lot of friends that have served, and I almost say that that's almost like an anger, like, when I've seen that PTSD, it's a totally different so, I don't know enough about it to talk about, like, on a professional level, but from what I've
Sure.
seen and what I've heard, and PTSD, I think it's something it's almost like oh my gosh, why can't I think of like for moms, we get like postpartum, right?
Yes.
And that totally that can mean anything. I mean, it doesn't mean that there's just I mean, some moms they just don't want to touch their baby and it's like it's not because they don't love their baby. They just or I just don't think that you can put it in a box. So I do like that you said that because I don't think anyone should feel shame. And if you can identify that you do have something and are able to acknowledge it and be strong enough to talk about it on a public platform, especially, I think that that's
Absolutely.
over half the battle right there. So I appreciate you for telling me that and thank you. And I'm glad that you are sharing your journey because I do think it's important. OCD, I definitely I think I personally might have glimpses of it. I've never been diagnosed. I'm scared to go to a doctor because I don't wanna know.
Sure.
But I probably do have elements of it. I am very much that person. If I say I'm gonna do something, I mean, my husband will come in and be like, "Babe, it's like 3 AM, like, you need to go to bed." I won't sleep. Like, I obsess. Like, if I'm gonna do something, I it's just my personality. That's what I have drawn it to, but now the older I'm getting, I do realize, like, okay, it's not normal. I can do some tomorrow, but I am definitely guilty of having signs of certain things as well, even though I have not been diagnosed with anything. So I
Sure.
can't imagine, and I'm glad that you are, able to talk about that and you are getting the treatment and everything for that because it's important. And I do believe that every life matters. So,
Correct.
um, taking care of yourself is first because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of the people around you. So,
Exactly.
that's huge, and I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. Um, so when you were diagnosed with all of this, what was your initial? Were you kind of shocked? Was it overwhelming? Like, how did you deal with all of it?
Yeah. No. Sure. So I do want to say it first kicked off when I checked into a brand new squadron. And, as far as me and my short military career, I was very, very successful. I made second class in a little over 2 years. I loved what I did. I really brought it every single day. And then all of a sudden, and this will get kind of graphic a little bit, okay? But I recall all of a sudden I just had this random image in my head of my wife blowing her head off with a shotgun. Whatever, but
Oh,
that's
wow.
super random. That's really weird. Didn't think much of it
That's
until
scary.
no, absolutely. And actually, during this time, my wife was pregnant with our second child as well. So, man, she was awesome. She's great. She was doing well, staying at home, and she was living well. It just came out of nowhere, blew me away, and I, for some reason, kept on thinking about it. I'm going like, I don't want to think about this anymore, and it was so visual in like your mind's eye, I guess you'd want to say it. It just kept on happening over and over and over again, and then that eventually led to, which is heartbreaking, me seeing my children get hurt in my head, and it happened constantly. I'm going like, man, what is going on? And then it put me into such a depression. I'd say probably over a span of maybe like 6 to 7 months of trying to figure out what's going on. And as these
Well,
kept
I
on
mean,
happening,
that's scary. As a
yeah,
parent, if you have those thoughts, that's
right,
terrifying to have to think that. And like, It's one thing to have a bad dream, right? But if you're like
Right.
really in that and you're thinking that as a parent, I can't imagine how scary that must have been for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. As far as what OCD and what it does, it really, really, for some reason, it targets the people you love or the things you love the most. And then, I like to be a doctor and talk about it like real thoroughly, but I'm not that guy. I just know that it is a living hell that people who are diagnosed with that. And as far as the things that would cross my mind constantly, they just kept getting more and more violent, more and more just horrible, to where it put me into a really deep depression. I actually went into a psychosis to where I was actually hospitalized 3 times, um, because of my symptoms. Because like I wasn't myself, personality just went out the window. Military's trying to figure out, hey, what's going on with you? They start, throwing me some meds, try this, try that. I'm trying to maintain just the individual that I am, the character that I had, and all that just went out the window. And I was fighting for my life. And then I do recall, I think it was my second or third time being hospitalized. I was at Madigan. It's that army base in Washington, and I was
Okay.
there. I don't recall for like how long I was there, but I was uh, put on a bunch of different medication, just trying to survive, trying to tolerate it, the ups and downs, the anxieties. Like my skin would just burn constantly. That's about the anxiety was. I couldn't think straight, couldn't even like populate like an idea. Couldn't really solve any problems. Like it was that bad. I was incapable of being a functional human being, which is super scary as a guy who very headstrong, type A, was the problem solver all the time, loves his family, loves other people, actually cares for this world, and then this just freaking just slams you. Like it just crushes you, which eventually led to a treatment known as ECT, which is a electroconvulsive therapy. It's where they put you to sleep and they basically shock you into a seizure. And then you will seizure for about maybe up to a minute 30. You come out of it, and awesome treatment, fantastic treatment. I felt myself coming back after like the third treatment. I went through a span of 12 treatments at Madigan. Um, Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm gonna cut that one out. But anywho,
No, that's okay. You went through your treatment. You went through your treatment. Yeah.
yep,
Your 12th
yep,
treatment.
yep, 12 treatment. But by the third treatment, I felt myself coming back. So it's kind of like you're like, think of it as a computer and you're just hitting the hard reboot, right? And it just resets your brain,
Mhm.
which was very fantastic because during that time I was learning tools, like ERP or CBT or DBT on how to process this information and still function as a human being. So getting the ECT treatments helped me out along the way just to be there for my family. You know what I mean? And that was critical. I was crushed as a man.
Well, I mean, I can imagine how you must feel, but I'm sure your wife is proud of you. And I think
Yeah.
that that's a traumatizing experience. Anything I will say, and I just know this firsthand, from my own experiences, but anything that has to do with the brain
Yeah.
is just scary, okay? And the brain can
Yeah.
take you to like some really messed up places.
Yeah.
And if you pack on any sort of mental health or any sort of, drug abuse or alcoholism or anything, and
Right.
you have thoughts, I mean, you can do some wild things. It can make you, I mean, it's insane. And I'm
It
not a
is.
doctor either, but I will say that the stories that I have heard and the people that I know and that are amazing people and some of the things that I've heard that they do, and it is like you said, that psychosis, and it's not like they would ever mean to do any of this, but sometimes if you don't treat these issues, those thoughts that you do think do become a reality. I do think that getting the treatment for that is huge, and I don't think that, I know that you're a man and you're gonna feel the way you do, and no one can tell you not to feel the way you do, and I'm sorry that's how you feel, but as somebody else who has a wellness and I do have my own sobriety that I work on every day too, and
Yep.
I do know that it's a lot and it's something that you have to work at, it's like a marriage. Like anything in life, right? And you do have to take care of yourself. So in order to be healthy for everybody else around you. So I commend you for, sharing that and also for taking care of yourself because a lot of people can't do that. I mean, you get stuck in
Yep.
those thoughts and it's really hard. And then you think like, "Oh, well, I'm just up. Like,
Yeah.
why would I get the help?" Or, and then sometimes the meds that you go on, they can make you worse, I mean, I've
Correct.
seen those sides too. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not gonna go against pharma or anything like that, but I will
Right.
say that, they are really good about masking a problem rather than helping somebody walk through their problem. So
Correct.
I definitely and there's nothing wrong for anybody that needs to be on any sort of medications. I
Right.
personally am against it for myself,
Sure.
and that has my own things, but if somebody needs to take something and it makes you feel better and, do it. Like if it's helping. I do think the cocktails that they can give you though can lead to other issues as well. So
Yeah,
I don't
definitely. And
know,
just to
did you
touch on that.
experience that
Oh,
you said you went and saw doctors, like, how did that go for you?
yeah, no, I would tell them what's going on, and then they're like, shit, okay, let's try this medication. And, normally it takes what, 2 to 3 months for the medication to kick in. So you're still suffering, you're still enduring what has been going on. And, you're hoping that this medication is going to work. And in a lot of cases now, especially in regards to my faith as a Christian, my hope is in Jesus and his healing power. Whether I'm healed tomorrow, whether I'm healed after I pass from this earth, I know I will be healed at some point, and that hope alone keeps me going. It's really been that vessel that drives me, that there are better solutions out there. There's got to be better solutions out there for individuals who have a mental illness or whatever you are actually managing or dealing with or enduring. And that hope is just keeps me going. But I do want to touch on, like, as far as medications, I was looking over my record, I think about like 2 months ago from the VA. I was on 61 different types of medications. And when I say 61 different types, it could be, different dosages. But I looked at that, I was like, holy crap,
Wow.
that's wild. That's insane. So anybody out there who
That's
is
scary that
going
they
through,
do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's scary.
uh, very scary. And that's something that I have to depend on my faith, because I'm not going to fear. I cannot let fear overcome. I cannot let those seeds of doubt
Mhm.
continue to grow, because they have the possibility of defeating you as far as whatever you're facing. And then something else I do want to touch on was when the OCD would, hop from different themes or whatever. It's pretty horrifying when the theme that hops on is suicide. So that is extremely hard to even process, right? And if and when
Yeah,
that theme
and
comes
it's
up,
and it's a action if you think about it and then you act on it, you can't take it back, right? That's really
correct.
scary.
Yeah,
Very scary.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I go through the day and I don't want to think this whatsoever. I don't want to think these certain thoughts, but they keep on coming back nonstop. I'm just trying to be a man to love and support his family and support the mission as far as what I'm supporting, just to keep it as simple as that. But it does the illness doesn't make it that simple. And obviously, after it's repeating or on repetition, nonstop, you get depersonalized. You can't function. You can't focus. Anxiety is through the roof. And, for me and my walk in my faith, I'd be driving home from work just about every single day, crying, pleading to God, why is this happening to me? Like, what the heck is going on? I need you to show up. I need you right now. And I would get
Mhm.
that cry out prior to going home. And then, my wife, we've been together for 20 years, married for 17. She knows as far as what's going on. So she'll ask me, hey, did you have a pretty rough day? I go, yeah, pretty rough day, but I'm getting through it. But the different seasons, so from 2014 all the way up until today's day, that it still happens. But God's given me the strength to get through it. And that's something that I lean into, because that's my truth, right? And with my
Mhm.
story, sharing my story, I just pray and hope that it provides anybody out there who's going through something like this right now. There is hope for you to get better, and there is healing. There is a way for you to find that hope, and that hope is in Jesus, at least for me. I certainly hope it is for you. And I would get down on my knees constantly and just pray, cry, and weep for God to show up. And guess what? He did. And he still does, which is phenomenal, which keeps me going. So as far as that goes, and what I have experienced up to this point, it's tough, very, very tough. And I just hope whoever's out there who's really, really hurting, who is really, really in that hole, that dark hole that you're just trying to claw and just get yourself out, there's a light, and you got to bring this stuff into the light, and it's going to help you. And you got to reach out to other people within the community who will stand by your side and walk through it with you. Because doing this alone, you will get your butt kicked. Period. Yeah, that's my prayer and hope, is that you guys reach out to Jesus, you guys find some good people who will take care of you, help you, and then your story, your testament of you overcoming whatever you're going through is going to be somebody else's hope.
Well, and I really love that you're sharing that because I think that I I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. And I do think that that's something that a lot of people can struggle with. And I always say that for me personally, you don't, even if you don't believe or, whatever your belief systems are, if you have a higher power, whatever that may be, lean in it, spirituality, whatever it is, lean in it and still reach out for, for help. I do think that prayer does do a lot, and,
Absolutely.
I think it takes a lot to get there too, for a lot of people, right? So,
Yeah.
I think that you need to lead with compassion. Anybody that's going through any sort of health, mental health, any sort of addictions or whatever it may be, you do
Yeah.
have to give yourself a lot of grace too, and it does take time, and I'm a
Yes.
very impatient person. I'm a very impatient person. I'm the most impulsive example, someone said, "You gotta start a podcast, Jen." I go, "Okay, cool. I'll start a podcast." And I'm like,
Yep.
I had no idea, 0 experience, and here I am. Like, sure, I am the most I'm gonna get a horse. I grew up riding. I haven't had a horse in a while. My kids are in school. I'm gonna go get one. My husband's like, "Okay, I know you like to ride, and we do trail rides and stuff when we want. Like, why do you wanna get a horse?" And I'm like, "'Cause I want to." And he's like, "Okay, go get one." He's so chill.
Yep.
What did I
Yep.
do? I went and bought a horse, like, I am that person, and it's a very impulsive to the point where I do have to take a lot of steps back, and for me, personally, it is hard. It is really
Yep.
hard for me, and I'm the person too that I don't really feel remorse, you know what I mean? Like, if I make a
Gotcha.
decision and I jump on it, I feel like I've trusted my instincts to this point now where I don't make those bad decisions, not to say I haven't, but
Yeah.
I think that that is all it's all mental health. I mean, regardless whether you are going to a doctor, or you have been diagnosed, if you do see signs that things could be off, I definitely encourage anybody listening to reach out. There's always help groups, there's so much, and you and I can talk about that in a little bit about because of what you do, which is amazing. But I definitely think people need to lean into the feelings, right? Rather than fight them because they always come back, right? Like, so I definitely think that that's really impactful what you've been able to do. Being on that many medications, though, I'm curious. And do you still take that many medications or is that what you were on at one time?
Okay, so as far as the 61 medications, that was from the span of 2014 all the way up until today. So I think the most medications I was on at once was 7 or 8, and that was a daily
Okay.
routine. Yeah. So currently, as of right now, I'm on 4 medications, and something that my
Okay,
pastor,
that's
pastor,
good. Okay.
no, it's great, right? But something that my
Yeah, yeah, that's
pastor,
okay, yeah,
Joby Martin said from the Church 1122. He was like, "What you need is people, prayers, and pills." Like, like, and it makes sense. Like that,
yeah,
there's that level of acceptance. It's like, okay, this is something that's going to keep me relatively balanced to just for me to do what I'm here to do, right? Take care of my family, take care of other people, and just talk to people about Jesus. It's pretty simple. Just
yeah.
keep it like that. And then, I mean, as far as side effects, there's always been a side effect. There's a reason why I went through 61 medications is because there was some really adverse side effect, whether it be mental or physical, that was going on. And that even made the battle even harder, that war even harder. So it's just another one of those things, me going through that much, whoever is going through that, uh, like I said, there's hope. There is hope.
Definitely hope. And I would like to say, I'll just share. I've never shared this with anybody, so I'm going to share this with you, Zach. But
Yeah.
I used to get crippling anxiety. So when you say you have anxiety, and I always say I'm an anxious person and I talk about having anxiety, but I've never really talked about the fact that I have ended up in the ER room thinking I'm having a heart attack. And I feel like anybody that has these types of conditions or these like what do you call what would you anxiety is, I mean, it's I guess an illness. I don't know, I guess, would that be considered a mental illness? I don't know, but I do have very bad anxiety where they turn into panic attacks, but I don't know that I'm having them. I just literally am like I'm having a heart attack and it
Yeah.
gets so bad. And I am definitely one of those people that does not take medications just given my history, and I don't like medications, not to say I haven't taken them, but for me that's a totally different story. But I will say that the go-to was always in the ER or the doctor, "Here, take Valium. Here, you need to take this." I don't do well on pills. Like, I've had serious accidents, and I almost died in a car accident, and, I was prescribed Vicodin, and I couldn't take it. I mean, I was in pain all the time, but I chose not to take it because it makes me so violently ill. So I am just one of
Yes.
those people that even if I wanted to take medication, it just doesn't sit right with me at all. So my anxiety is something that I've had to learn to manage, and it's a smell that I get, and I can't even describe it. But it's like I mean, almost like a cement smell,
Yeah.
and I get that smell and I know immediately if I'm driving, I have to pull over and do some breathing, and I know it's coming on. So it's something that's taken time and I can acknowledge it now, but it used to be really bad where I would be in the ER, like
Yep.
EKGs, like thinking I'm dying, and there's nothing more scary than, like I said, your brain, your where you go, and like in that and you can't control that, it literally
Right.
feels like someone's stabbing you in the heart and like you're having a
Yep.
heart attack and you're dying. And
Yep.
I can't so I can't imagine how you must felt. Like that's amazing that you're able to now have that even keel and you're using, what you've gone through to help other people. And I definitely think that's admirable and I like that. I love that for you. So thank you. What are the do you work with others? Can you tell me about the missions and things that you do to help others? Because I know that's a huge
Sure.
aspect of what you do, and I really want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I do want to start off with Project Save Outdoors, which was founded by Mike Dragich. And I'm pretty sure you might have seen him. He's the guy that's like wrangling a alligator on the freeway, who's cut off sleeves, just super marine light looking dude, just an ultimate badass. But he started Project Save Outdoors because there were a lot of guys from his battalion that were killing themselves. And Mike is a man of action, and he's loves Christ, and he's very, very obedient. So he started this, I think it was about two or 3 years ago. And then it's crazy how God works with meeting certain people because I train martial arts, more so jujitsu, and became very, very obsessed with that. And it was awesome. It was fantastic. Dialed in for a good 2 years. And come to find out, I found out about Project Saver Outdoors because one of my brothers, Paulo, he was rolling with me and he told me about it. And they only had like 13 to like 15 guys at starting. And they would just meet up together. They would just we started like with bows, talk about hunting, just guys coming together as a community. And then, we sprinkle some Jesus on top of that just to kind of um, find a
Uh-huh.
path, a mission, right? But basically, as to where it's at now, we have more than like 350 something members. They're all veterans, first responders,
Yes.
LEO, yeah, LEO, or even some active duty military men. And then what's beautiful
Okay.
about it is just to see how God's hand is on it, because as far as the blessings, the partners that Project Save Outdoors has created with like Brawler Creek Ranch, the Vortex, even the Church of 1122, we've been able to literally save guys' lives. And we simply do that by staying mission focused on forging community, igniting purpose, and defying darkness. And we do that by, in, and through Jesus Christ. And that's something that has been so powerful and so moving for me, which is actually why I'm doing this podcast right now, because I want to share my testimony. And there's no way ever, 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 ever in a million years would I ever do this if I wasn't on the path that I'm on right now, due to the men, my brothers by my side from Project Saber Outdoors. So As far as what we do, we will take our military veterans, first responders, LEO, active duty military men, and we'll take them out on hunts, on sponsored hunts. And from what Mike has established, hunting camps, it creates a solid bond between men. It gets them outdoors. They get to go play like they're little kids again. If they had the urge to get out there and just, be in the wild, let's get wild again. And
Yeah.
then when the opportunity comes around, we just simply talk to us about our story. What's our story? What has brought us up to where we are at right now? And it saved it has saved guys' lives. And the work that has been done and is still being done within Project Saver Outdoors, it is changing the lives of so many men, their families, and as far as what we see happening, it's changing generations. It's breaking generational curses, which is it's beautiful to see. It's awesome to see. We're literally kicking the devil in the teeth every single day, and we get so fired up about it because this is our mission. This is what we're here. We're here to just kick the devil in the teeth and give God all the glory and just keep them moving forward.
Well, I love that. That's great. Is this only in Washington, or is this like a US based thing that you're doing?
So I am just a part of the CERT team, but it is currently here in Jacksonville, Florida. So if I haven't said that, I'm here. I'm currently living in
Okay.
Florida. I'm saying it right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Moved down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I moved my family and I down here to Florida back in 2021, and I got invited to Project Saver Outdoors around like 2023.
Okay. That's great.
Yep,
So that's in Florida. Okay, great.
correct.
My husband wants to go look at places in Florida, by the way.
Yeah,
He's
let's
like
go.
missing the
It's
beach a
awesome.
lot.
Yep, yep, and
He's like, "We need
also
to go look at houses in Florida." Yeah,
yeah,
he's a California boy, but, won't
yeah,
he doesn't have a desire to go live there anymore. We're kind of getting drawn to Florida right now, so we shall see. I'll
okay,
definitely keep you in the loop on that.
let's go.
We'll need some good tour guides to show us around different areas. So we're definitely talking about it sooner than later. So that's
Okay, that's
awesome.
awesome.
And I
Yes,
know that the whole BioPro, like there's like a whole community there. And I know I think I'm like the only female in the group, but
you
that's okay.
are.
I have three
Yeah.
brothers. Like I have three brothers. I grew up like with, grew up, my, dad had me on a horse when I was like, I want to say 4 or 5. I was learning how
That's
to
great.
shoot. I mean, I was a tomboy,
Yep.
I was one of the boys, so in high school, that changed a little bit. My brothers got pissed when their friends were coming over, not for them, but they were scary. My dad was always like, "We got shotguns. Well, I'll be able to find, no one will be able to find you." So yeah, it was definitely interesting. But yeah, so that's really cool though. I'll have to have my husband get looped in with some of you guys so we can
Yes,
have some good tribes to show us around and stuff. So
let's
that'd be
go.
awesome. I love that though. So is there a outreach for this program outside of Florida, or right now is it mainly in
Yep.
Florida?
No, it is nationwide, worldwide, honestly, at this point,
Okay. Wow.
because
Awesome.
yes, we meet up every single Wednesday. And we have guys calling in from, I believe, all over the world to some degree who will call in for the disciples.
All right. Well, I think that's awesome that you have such an outreach and a brotherhood and you are helping so many other vets and it sounds like men, and just with getting the help that they need and really the awareness out, which is huge. And just can't believe that there's so many people that don't address these things. And I'm really grateful for this space so that we can really get more awareness to this for you and for the other vets and men that are struggling out there. Because it is important to have a support group and get the help that you need so that you can be happy and live the life that you want to have. We all deserve that. I think everybody does.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And something else I do want to touch on too. So
Mhm.
I went as far as seeking more help. I applied to Rescue 22 Foundation for a service dog just to help me with some interrupts because I would get stuck at certain points where I'm just dwelling on certain things. So just there's so many amazing people, amazing foundations out there that are doing some amazing things right now, and they absolutely deserve the credit. I just want them. I want the world to know. It's like there's so much help out there. You just have to go find it or just reach out to somebody. It's there. It's there.
Yeah, and I'm going to link our Instagrams. And I mean, I always say, I mean, anyone that's watching this can reach out to me. I will make sure that I put you in contact with everybody as well. And I'm
Okay.
going to absolutely make sure that your information is in here as well. I did want to get into one more thing if we have time.
Yeah.
You had mentioned something to me prior, and I wanted to say I'm sorry because I can't imagine, but you have lost a family member. Um, I just wanted to know if that's something we can talk about as well, since we're in this space of kind of
Yeah.
health and mental health and things like that, because I definitely think
Absolutely.
it's important to address sometimes, the people that don't make it. And I've had quite a few friends now. I'm 44 and it's sad. Life's short. We only get one. And I always say we should live it as fulfilly. I can't talk
Yeah.
now. And I do, and authentically, and don't apologize for any of it, like the messy parts, the good parts, all of it. I mean, that's what makes this an amazing life, is that we're able to navigate through it, and it's not perfect. I'm really happy to have you on here, Zach. I hope you have an amazing week. And as always, thanks for keeping it real. And I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jen. God bless.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye. This episode is brought to you by Real Reach Digital, where SEO meets AI to grow your business. Thank you so much for listening and spending time with me. As always, keep it real, and see you next week.